leaders are exhausted. We put so much pressure on them. They're not robots. They might be facing or struggling with emotional bankruptcy. Question is, what can you do? You can't automate emotional intelligence. You can't automate a culture, but you can help elevate through ecosystems or good culture, meaning you have trust, you have clarity, because you have also different generations in the organization. You have your Gen Z, you have your baby boomers at the top, then you have alphas coming soon, and then you also have millennials and Gen X, Gen Y. We clash because we think differently, we operate differently, we have different genders working in the space. So
what would you say characteristics for future leaders or leaders we need now?
Two things that it would be important.
Welcome to another episode of Extraordinary Leadership Podcast. My name is Ghenwa Habbal. I am your host, CEO of Extraordinary Leadership and catalyst of leadership transformation for the new era. My mission is to pave a new way in how we lead ourselves, our teams, business, organizations that lead to sustainable growth, thriving cultures, and unleash human potential. This podcast, of course, falls into this mission and bring conversations with leaders who are equally passionate about paving a new way, a new paradigm in leadership and preparing us for the future. And so today in studio, I have a pleasure to speak with one of those change makers, Dr. Ghenwa Habbal, who is an HR leader, who is HR futurist, the co-author of the book Talent Matrix that we will talk about, and definitely brings a lot of passion, experience, and dedication to what she is doing and how she's paving that new way in companies that she's working. If you are interested into preparing your organization for the future that is already unfolding now, this is an episode for you. Without further ado, I am so happy to have you here, Ghenwa.
Hello, Ghenwa. Beautiful introduction. And thank you for having me on your podcast.
Yes, thank you. It's very nice to talk with someone that is equally passionate about this topic and also pave, the new way of leading in organizations.
I believe so. It's quite fundamental and paramount to really delve deeper into the topic of leadership, and I can say quantum leadership.
Oh, yes. That keyword we saved as well.
Right. I think this is very important if we really want to drive businesses towards the future, towards, a world or an era where we can find a sweet spot or a sweet balance between, the digital era and, the humans combined. I think that would be, the sweetest spot ever. But I think in order for us to have this properly designed and architected, adopting the power of quantum thinking and quantum leadership could be really paramount for that.
Yes, so look forward to unpack that also today in the episode. And before we go to all of those beautiful words that anticipating the audience, let's start with your journey to what you do today, actually.
Okay, so storytelling is something that I have been really enjoying lately because, with storytelling, sometimes we are able to inspire the people around us. And with the proper inspiration, hopefully they can aspire to become the humans and the people that they want to be. So when it comes to my journey, Ghenwa, I'll just take a quick flashback to my teens. I was one of those people who were never book smart in their lives. And at the age of 15, I decided to leave school, step out of school.
Interesting.
And the reason I stepped out for school was two main things. I was never a book smart student, number one. Number two, we had a family financial crisis, and I had really to step into the world of work. And throughout my journey, I've stumbled across so many experiences that shaped, the woman that I am today. And one of these experiences was, of course, has equipped me with the entrepreneur mindset that I have today. Though I'm not an entrepreneur, but I come with an entrepreneur mindset, and I serve organizations that are Fortune 100 or Fortune 500. And I bring that spirit to them so I can help also elevate how I work, with the team, with the leadership, help transform cultures and create spaces, where everybody can thrive. So now going back to that, I think I was blessed to start with, because if I haven't experienced, how does life outside outside school look like, I wouldn't have returned back to school to understand, what was the blessing inside. So as a child, you're protected. As a teen, you're protected between your school, your family, your friends, and so on. I witnessed the world from a different lens, right? And then I decided to go back to school. 3 years down the line, I made some money. I continued my education with the support of my parents, who taught me what does resilience also really look like at a very young age. Fast forward, I decided, what? Since I passed my school degree, how about I join university? I was never also available at universities as well because I was working all my life, which means I've missed so many classes in universities. I always had to speak with my, professors to say, I'm working, I don't have all the time. I don't have the luxury of, other students who have like parents to sponsor their education. So I need some substance, some support in order for me to really pass and succeed throughout my educational journey. So my life has always been about, finding a sweet spot through the art of negotiation, avoiding conflicts, finding an opportunity in every adversity that I properly have lived. And then fast forward during my last year of university, so I've joined companies where I've worked for F&Bs, travel and tourism, across different industries, and that was back home. And home for me is Lebanon. So as a woman coming from, that side of the world, the Levant area, bringing myself into the corporate world, then the school world, then corporate world. So it was a quite mixed and a quite diverse childhood, if I have to say so, and teens. Fast forward, my last year of university, I managed to join one of the biggest conglomerates back home. And it was under the umbrella, or the industry was environmental service, waste collection, treatment, and so on. This was my school of thought. That company was what shaped literally my school of thinking when it comes to how to lead in turbulence, how to lead in disruption, how to lead, with obstacles, how to maneuver, how to pave, and how to really think from not only one lens. Right? I've learned to shift lenses in that organization. And because of that, I managed to climb up the ladders very quick. And soon I found myself within the SWAT team. And what does it mean to be on the SWAT team? It means you have the privilege to travel on business trips, on international assignments, to set up businesses from scratch. And my region was the GCC. And then from there, I've established companies across Qatar, Oman, and then UAE, in Abu Dhabi, and then after Abu Dhabi, I've moved to Dubai. And then this is when I decided settled in. And then I moved organizations. And I literally climbed up the ladder. And today, going back to studies, as someone who's not really book smart, I managed to get my master's in organization psychology and my doctoral degree in culture and leadership transformations. So this is me in a nutshell. This has been my leadership journey in a way or another. And I managed to literally throughout this to understand few concepts. One of them is Ikigai, inspired by the Japanese culture. Yep. Because throughout the experiences that I have lived, I've always circled back to what is my purpose, right? Root cause. Why am I doing what I'm doing? What is the dream or the change that I want to make for me and for the society that I serve? And then the next one was kintsugi. And kintsugi is a Japanese art. It's basically embracing the beauty of imperfection. And that's what we call wabi-sabi. And that's, how I evolve and work and operate within my ecosystem, whether it's a good opportunity. I believe there's always good opportunities, but despite the adversity. So this is me in a nutshell, Dagmar.
Yes, I absolutely love the story, and I could see how, early on, those entrepreneurship mindsets and you mentioned turning adversity opportunity. So seeing the gifts in all those different situations. Of course, resilience, especially in this first challenging moments, right? When you left the school. And I think determination and perseverance as well, right?
Of course, it's the epic determination and perseverance. Again, what usually fuels this is the why, your why. Why are you doing what you're doing? What do you want to achieve? Who do you want to be? And I'll tell you a secret, and that would be exclusive to your podcast, and it's not going to be a secret anymore.
I feel now honored.
Thank you for giving me that opportunity to disclose something about myself as well. I mean, when I was in my teens, or when I was, in that era, when I literally had nothing, right? I always dreamt that I want to be, a successful businesswoman in a luxurious car. And that vision has always inspired what I do.
Yeah.
I've done it. I have my luxurious car. I became someone, very reputable in the region, who has her reputation, who's perceived and seen, hopefully, as a thought leader in the space of leadership. And I'm grateful for myself, for the people that are tagged along with me in the journey, have supported me, and my biggest advocates as well, because without the people around me, I don't think I would have been here.
That's also an important one to mention.
Of course.
And when I was listening to you, I had a little smile even because I remember those early dreams.
Yes.
I think for me, that was like starting with the age of 9 when I, for the first time, went outside of Poland, which is a communistic country.
Yeah.
And, there was not so much available there. And I visited Germany. And that was the decision in my mind, that age as well, that with a very similar dream that you are saying.
Yeah.
Which also kind of came true, and that came the stage of what's next? Is that it? That coming out of stage.
The evolution of that dream has to continue for sure.
Yes, which made me also to pivot in my career, right? But so resonate with this, and it's such an important thing to dream, right? It's imagination. Now we know consciously that there's a power in imagination there.
Of course.
So now basically it's part of their practice, right? Or very often practice as
100%. And you know what? I think we're blessed. We live in a country, the United Arab Emirates, which can help our dreams come true. So no matter how old you grow in this nation, you will always continue to be young. And I think that is, the beauty of us living in here. It gives you the space, right, to innovate, to create, and to really make something out of that innovation and creativity. A dream. It gives you the toolkit to architect your dream in the best way possible. So I think, thankfully, we are really blessed living here.
Sure, it does. The environment and ecosystem is important, right?
Big time.
So we can only grow as far. And that's an important, actually open the doors to so many beautiful questions and topics, side topics, right? Or we'll come back to the talent. And that's important because that defines your growth as well, right? You need some moments to shift where you live and who you surround yourself with so that you can reach and maybe not reach is not the right word, but you can realize that next level dream, that next level chapter. And then of course the dream grows and the chapter evolves. So it plays an important role. And you mentioned importance of the people also. So who are the people that had influence or support, into you becoming who you are today?
There are a lot. First of all, definitely my parents. They never lost hope in me. So I was a rebel and I continue to be a rebel. And I think because I am a rebel, right, I'm able to challenge status quo. And because I'm a rebel, I'm able to take risks. It is calculated risk. So my parents, first of all, my siblings as well, and definitely my friends, for sure, who trusted in me. Those who were drops throughout the journey, I thank them for the learnings that they have given me as well. And of course, a major, big, massive thank you, a mega thank you for the leaders who embarked on my journey and where our paths have crossed and gave me, the tools, the equipment, the learnings, the experiences that today, I use as well as I coach or as I mentor or as I use, in whatever I do from, services for my clients as well. I think because of that, today, we witness the birth of the Talent Matrix, which is a book that I am super duper proud that I brought to life earlier this year along with my co-author, also Dr. Soha Shaheen. And I think, first of all, it's the first ever book that was launched in 2025. So people, you can do your research. It is the #1 book that was launched in 2025. And it's quite unique as a book because it leverages and it's built on delivering messages through the concept of edutainment. And edutainment is where I love it. It's my go-to tool usually, where you train or you learn and educate yourself through entertainment, and where I've brought the concept of what I personally believe in and live by, the quantum thinking approach. So everything in that book that came to life is about, or within the arena of quantum thinking, because it's quite a holistic ecosystem to how you can lead towards a better future.
Yeah, so I think that is a beautiful segue to start the conversation around that book more.
Yeah.
I love always guests that beautifully segue themselves already to the topics that we evolve. So let me ask a question. What brought you to write a book? Because of course, writing a book is a commitment. It's an effort. I mean, it's not just, we don't see it as effort. There's of course purpose and mission and probably impact
behind. But it is an effort.
Right? Of course.
You have to put a lot of efforts, lots of tears, lots of frustrations, lots of devastation, lots of happy moments, lots of laughters, and lots of how did I write all of this? Oh my God, that's rubbish. and then you do this, and then you have to write again, and then you're, oh my God, this is exactly what I want to share.
Yes. How long it took you to?
Around a year and a half.
Okay, but that's actually fast, right?
I operate in a very fast mode, and maybe that is the reason I'm also bringing something to the world next year, which is my very own leadership model.
Oh, interesting.
Maybe a podcast next year
for the next book release.
We can talk about it, but for this one, let's center it on what you want to get out of me.
Yes,
juice me.
Yes. So why talent metrics?
All right. So again, we've witnessed so many evolutions and revolutions from the industrial area to the digital area to the world that we're all living today. And tomorrow, I don't know what kind of era, we're going to be living in. And throughout all of these like time zones, we've always, I'm not going to generalize because I have to be fair as well. Like a lot of us have adopted a mindset or a thought process of 1 + 1 = 2. And whatever you say or whatever you do and whatever negotiation approach you will use, 1 + 1 will never be 11 to them. So
it's logical.
Yes. So
linear thinking.
Very linear. Right. And people somehow, because we live in a very fast-paced world, so a lot of us are operating in autopilot. Businesses, are trying to transform, but leaders perhaps, are trying also to jump on that the speed train where, you have to adapt quick. You have to think differently. You have to change your mindset. You have to manage your team. You have to manage your business results. And operating in a linear mode or within the binaries of 1 and 0s. And when we adopt that concept away from binaries and away from linear thinking, the first person who is going to be impacted is you. Your well-being is going to be, elevated. You will feel better. You will be in touch with, your inner self, understanding who you are. And this is where the power of emotional intelligence comes in, and we've talked about it in our book. And of course, there will be other layers that you will be discovering through the power of emotional intelligence until you hit the last perhaps pillar, which is the relationship management, where you tap into your people's skill set, capabilities. You would know their emotional status if they are in an emotional bankrupt, yes or no. And then from there, you will take it forward to help, your team transform. They're no longer at a stage of they are just, norming and forming, but they are also performing and enjoying at a later stage, right? And of course, when you evolve or you help yourself and your team evolve, what's happening is you're helping the culture also to elevate. And when you have an elevated culture, a healthy culture, a good culture within your society, your small society, which is you and your team, right? Then what will happen? It will spread because, positivity is contagious, same like negativity. It's like a disease, but on a good one. And then once you have a positive culture, right? And I'm sure positive culture has so many definitions and connotations. We can delve deeper into that. But when you have that good culture, right? Creativity and innovation will surge, right? And it will spark. And when these two aspects are there, people will start thinking from different perspectives. They are no longer afraid to voice their opinion, their thoughts, right? So you are creating a psychological safe environment. And when you have that environment, what happens is you will have definitely good business results. You will be eventually driving good business results, and everybody will be an advocate of the brand. And once you are an advocate of the brand, you are actually elevating your value proposition as a company. And then when your value proposition is new sales funnels are there, and that is quantum.
Yes, that is this beautiful chain of ripple effect, starting with you as a leader.
Exactly. So it's the ripple effect of being a good leader.
Yes, and I love that you kind of nicely put an X and an X and an X. And I was just thinking, it's like ascent to extraordinary leadership framework. That's like exactly what I'm talking. That's why we're sitting here, right?
Yes.
Because we need more people that basically are bringing that in a different way in different places as well. Because that's so true. And it's beautiful that you describe how each is just a ripple effect. I'm just saying always like your outside world is just a projection of your inner world.
Yeah.
Because it truly is once you are coming to it. And of course, that's a premise of a quantum physics and energy, understanding energy. And
when you drop something, what will happen in the water?
Absolutely. So how much time do you think leaders spend today on that, observing and, being in that space as well?
No numbers in mind, right? But
sure. That's something probably nobody will be able to quantify. But do you think, so let me change maybe the question. Do you think that leaders spend enough time into that? into
I'm sure they
looking
can
into
do more.
themselves. Mm.
Right. But I also don't blame them because, eventually we live in a very disruptive world. And today, everybody is familiar with the term VUCA, which is volatile, uncertain, complex, and ambiguity. But then you also have BANI, which is brittle and I don't know what. And then
you have AI.
And then you have AI. And then you also have the socioeconomical issues. And then you also have the sociopolitical issues. And then you also have poverty. But I mean, there's a lot of factors that people, are experiencing today. And then you have your family responsibility, right? We don't live alone in this world. If you don't have kids, perhaps you have a partner. If you don't have a partner, you have pets that you also want to take care of. We live in a system where we have to take care of many things around us. So our leaders are exhausted. They are exhausted. And we put so much pressure on them in a way where they're not robots. And that's why in my latest post, I said, they might be on, facing or struggling with emotional bankruptcy. And what can you do about this? The question is, what can you do? You can't automate emotional intelligence. You can't, automate a culture, but you can, help bring that in a way, or it can help elevate through good ecosystems or good culture, meaning you have trust, you have clarity. I think a lot of us, our lenses, you have to wipe them constantly, but still you can't see clearly because you don't know, because the world is quite ambiguous. Now we're just living in a disruptive, time. But if you put or you remove your lenses, also the vision down there might not be very clear. And maybe that is scary. And for sure it's scary. I would be scared, right? But how do you take that forward?
Yeah.
Right. So, of course, resilience and so many other things. But yes, our leaders, back to your question, Mara, are leaders doing this? Maybe some are not. And we don't blame, right? Because we understand that, this is a very tough, time literally for everyone. And because you have also different generations in the organization, right? You have your Gen Z, then you have your baby boomers at the top, then you have alphas, you have coming soon, and then you also have millennials and Gen X. So, and Gen Y, right? So all of these, we clash, right? Because we think differently, we operate differently, we have different, genders working in the workspace. So everybody's tired. Right?
Yes,
but
there's a lot of going on, right?
100%.
It's like when I'm hearing you could picture almost like not a tornado, but kind of it's like
tsunami.
Yeah, tsunami. And yes, a lot of uncertainty. And I don't think that would change much. I mean, this is new normal, right? So totally agree with you, especially also on this part of non-judgment, because I think this is the same place where I come from, in a sense of either unawareness or lack of access.
For sure.
Those are the two things. It's not that it's never unintentional, it's just really those two.
Bias, unawareness, unclarity, not clear, and it's normal.
And I don't know if you've been there, but I've been there. Well, that's how I came actually to what I do today, because I was also, in those different leadership roles in that time, tsunamis and that time, right? Things going on. And despite many different, programs that are really also important for leadership skills and leadership development and other frameworks. But I also found myself that time in the place of, okay, there must be something wrong with me, others are more successful, or, all anxiety, all doubts about decisions, the team is not. And only now looking back, which is 10 years now since that the journey started for me, it's so clear. It's so clear why, just because of what you mentioned before. Is because there was so much inside my world that I needed to, right?
To clear,
elevate, to clear, to upgrade as a system, because we all have that
operating
beautiful
system.
Exactly.
Just like a phone.
Exactly.
It has operating.
Exactly.
The human has also an operating system on its own. And yes, it requires cleansing for sure every night. You have to flush yourself.
Yes. So what do you think, knowing that, having that awareness, and I agree there are more and more, let's say, I think there are a lot of HR leaders, first of all, very much aware about them in a different degree. So not everybody is aware, in a depth. So I think that is the first challenge that we're having. Just my big thinking and big observation is that not everybody yet know how to give the right access. And then to even have the right access, the right sources, the tools, the ways of serving. And I think personally, that is the challenge that we are having, is the awareness, and then of course the right access. I don't know, what's your view on that?
See, a lot of people actually think we have a problem, we see the problem, and then we try to fix it. then the same problem happens. And then we look at the problem with the same lens and we expect a different solution.
Yes, nothing changed inside, right? Not in a mindset, not in energy.
And I think, one thing I've learned in my life, it's first of all, actually two things. And this is, a big, massive thank you to one of the leaders that have taught me these two analogies or quotes. Not sure what we want to call them. But in every situation where an obstacle arises, that leader told me, Ghenwa, step back, sleep on it a little bit, and then look at it from a different perspective. And see yourself if you can look at it from a different perspective. Ask yourself, what is it that you're not seeing inside? So challenge your thinking. What does that mean? It means, first of all, you get comfortable with the uncomfortable. This is an uncomfortable situation. Because if you still operate from a mindset that, oh my God, it's uncomfortable, right? You're driving yourself into an anxious zone, war zone. So first of all, relax, do not tense, and then breathe and step out and then step in. So get comfortable with the uncomfortable, then go slow to go fast. And that's what I have to say.
Those are important for listeners today, because of course, this is exactly an opposite of what we would assume would get us further.
Yes.
Right? Because we're in this constant doing and many still chasing and proving and pushing, right? Type of energy. So it's very, very important what you said, to slow down, to pause.
You have
to reassess, because that is actually when the best ideas and best results actually come.
Yeah. Exactly. Again, it's a battery. You need to recharge it.
Yeah, absolutely.
Right? Yeah.
And that's why you also, there are more things to that. But take us back to the book. So what readers are going to find in your book?
What can readers find in the book? So first of all, before I tell what can they find in the book, what I can share is, and based on the feedback we have received either through LinkedIn or from the Amazon reviews, this book is literally suitable for almost everyone. So we tried to really come up with something that if you are, a business leader, you will benefit from it. If you are an entrepreneur, right, you will benefit because you would learn if you have to bring your business next level, who do you need on your team and why? If you are a people leader, right, how would you take the secret recipes that are available in there to become a successful leader? If you are a student, how would you prepare yourself for the corporate world?
Interesting.
Right? So the book literally somehow fits almost this criteria of professionals or this criteria of humans. And then, what's inside that book? Definitely we start by defining what is emotional intelligence from our lens and how can you use that emotional intelligence based on studies for sure. But we try to operationalize emotional intelligence in the business. And that is the beauty of this book. We start by the foundations of emotional intelligence, and then we introduce the concept of talent management outside the matrix. So this is the matrix, but how would you manage outside that matrix? Right? So thinking outside the box.
Outside the box, yeah.
Okay. And why do you need to think outside the box? 1 + 1 is not always 2. It can be 11. Yeah. So we teach that mindset in this book. So we bridge two different worlds. The talent management, how you manage your talent through the power of emotional intelligence. And that bridge is where, we delve deeper into how you can take this into, perhaps if you're an HR professional, into talent acquisition. If you're a leader, what do you need to do or what do you need to master to become a better version of yourself? And we shared examples like the Ghenwa walk, for example. The power of Ghenwa and how you connect with the people on the ground and so on. There are personal stories also available there based on what I have experienced and my co-author have experienced as well. And I can tell you we end up by artificial intelligence. So we try to, as much as possible, to not summarize, but bring an ecosystem into a smaller version where we give you the toolkit and then you can take it and use it out there.
Interesting. So I think it's a book that really is helping many leaders and those that prepare also to join to really see what really helps them to develop and nourish talents, right? That's why the title of the book.
100%, especially that we all are living in a disruptive world. Right? So this is not designed in a perfect world.
We'll never be in a perfect world.
If it's in a perfect world, if we're living in, this book won't be for them. But because we are not living in a perfect world, we're offering toolkits. And that's why it's called a playbook. It's not only a regular book. It's a playbook. You have stories, you have jokes, you have provocative thinking. The language is quite somehow, aggressive. And then you have storytelling. Then you have analogies. Then you have frameworks. Then we challenge your thinking, and we ask you to challenge yourself, actually. So there's an assessment inside. So there are multiple things. And that's why, through edutainment. Education.
Yeah, I can see that. I can see this out of the box thinking flair that has flown, that is your DNA. I can sense a lot of Japanese influence. I've been 13 years in a Japanese company. So Ghenwa, very, very known, right? And also, obviously, the lens of your expertise in that area as well, right? And the entertainment, right? The entertainment.
I personally cannot learn anything in my life if I can't play. I mean, no matter how old as a human I grow in age, I need to play. And because I play, I create an experience. And when you create an experience, it's an unforgettable one.
Very psychology behind, too.
Exactly.
It has an emotional connection.
Psychology, neuroscience, and future.
Yes, it's an
And that is what I bring anyways to my clients as well. Even when I design conferences, which I did earlier this year, the way it was architected, it was built on this.
Yes, it makes sense, because basically we learn by those experiencing and emotional moments as well.
100%.
That kind of anchor more in our subconscious.
Yes.
So there is a purpose for that. So I imagine that this book is very handy, and I'm going to check it in too. So thank you very much.
You have your coffee now.
You see, that's a beautiful opportunity to discover what is in a book already upfront reading it. So I'm getting prepared for that and interested.
Love it.
And great that you also plant those seeds, I hear. That makes you think outside of the box, that challenge the thinking, challenge the mindset, and through that show the benefits as well, and the ripple effect that you talked about, and some practical as well. Solutions of how you can, what I'm hearing as well. Start with yourself
100%.
And then bring it to your team and bring it to the organization as well.
Okay, if I have to summarize it in the best way possible, it's how do you tame your beast and claim your genius? This book is yours.
Yeah.
If you want to equip yourself with a sovereign mindset, this book is yours.
Okay. Now you know it's like another point why I should read it.
Very good. I'm happy that I'm seducing
Even
you.
if today my team is very lean, although I am, a lean. That's not different was in the corporate world. But definitely I'll be like, I totally see that.
Yeah.
Is there something else than a book in mind? Is this book part of something bigger?
Of course. It's just that journey. And to be honest, we haven't done this book just to, the aim is not definitely profitability. As authors, and this is my second time also being an author, my aim was never profitability. It's basically, inking my knowledge, my experience, my life into something tangible where I can, gift it to the world. Now, how can we now take this even further? Of course, there are a few things in the pipeline. Obviously, we want to make a business out of it that will serve the societies. So we started by, getting hosted in conferences as well, where in a podcast style, and that was exclusive to the Talent Matrix, where I come with my co-author and the host for the Talent Matrix. We speak about it and we tailor our messaging to the conference theme or to the organization's theme and so on. So that's one stream. The other stream, for sure, is the Talent Matrix has finished its first season, and we've done 3 episodes. So we finished. We had a branding Talent Matrix on tour, right, where we managed to visit organizations and provide masterclasses on what's the course or what the book entails, and then there will be more for sure. But I'll keep it as a surprise for now.
That's fine. We don't need to reveal all the secrets yet.
No, the recipe.
I was assuming that already.
Kentucky Fried Chicken never revealed the recipe, right? And that's why they are today quite unique.
Yes.
So we're going to keep that recipe for now.
Yes. Yeah, I can see that coming, of course, because that's just like a beginning of a beautiful journey. Yeah, my curiosity with all of that work that you're doing, what would you say are there characteristics for future leaders or leaders? I mean, we call it future leaders, but it's like leaders we need now, right?
Yeah.
So what in your own, definition would that be? What the leaders need?
Okay. There are a few things that I think it would be important or not. And let me start by identifying, what do we mean by leaders? I'm a leader. You're a leader. Our kids are leaders. I don't have kids, but kids are leaders. And I know theorists say that some people are born to be leaders, and some they train. Whatever the theorists say, I believe that since you're leading yourself, this is where you earn the title leader. So, and as you grow in age, there are definitely, experiences that will shape that leader in you. And, the world will help you mirror that leadership capabilities that you have. But again, as we look, towards tomorrow, I think few important things that might come to mind at this stage is no matter what the obstacle that you have, right? You need always to ask yourself, what is it that I am not seeing? So clarity. And clarity, right, requires your ability to stay focused. So focus is perhaps one of the most important attributes, behavior, competencies, skill, you name it, that I believe we as humans need to train, okay? Need to equip ourselves. The second one, I believe, is resilience muscle, how you flex your muscle, right? So agility is your ability to flex and not react, all right? And then find the alternative solution in that, cycle or vicious cycle or tsunami that you are living. So that is agility for me. It's your ability to flex without and bend without getting broken. And then, of course, it's your sustainable thinking. Why are you doing all of this? What is the end goal? What's the end in mind? And how are you approaching things with a sustainable mindset, with a sovereign mindset? And last but not least is, do you have the right people or community around you? Have you leveraged that, the power in you to create a your trusted network? And I think, trust happens to be one of the anecdotes for success. Again, I'm just reflecting on my journey. I think, I had good leaders who trusted me and I trusted them back.
Yeah.
And, has helped me evolve in my career. And that's why I advocate for trust and psychological safety as well.
Yes, the fundamentals of thriving culture, actually. I love it. So clarity and focus.
Yes.
What was the second one?
Ability to flex.
Ability to flex, the agility, right?
Yes.
Connected very much with
Bend,
emotional intelligence, right?
Don't break.
Sovereign thinking, also
sovereign thinking.
I love the word sovereign.
You're welcome.
It's like just from full self, right?
Yes.
Actually, yeah, because
Yes.
we are so much contracting as well, and the ecosystem and trusted ecosystem or
Yes.
trusted support.
Yes.
Yeah. Very
Yeah.
important points. Apart from fourth one, which is basically seeking the right support and surrounding yourself with the right people.
The trust, yes.
And trust, of course, is the equation there as well. What would you leave our listeners with? Then how can they arrive to, building those different capabilities?
One question I would ask them, what is the power in you? Start there.
What comes when you ask this question? I'm sure you ask this question many times to others.
Yeah.
And to yourself.
That has been a question that I've always asked myself when challenged my thinking. And I ask all my clients, as a coach as well, I ask all my clients, what's the power in you? And this is when we delve deeper into, the beliefs, the values, and so on, because a lot of us, sometimes we don't know how to articulate them. We know them, but we don't know how to articulate. And sometimes we even don't know, and that's okay. And we're here to help. All right. And when you know the power in you.
Yeah. Absolutely. I mean, what comes to me when you said it, of course, it's very, very resonating word, first of all, because it's all about standing in your power, standing in your fullness.
Yes.
It's not about, of course, aristocratic, and here are hiccup power we talk about, but standing from your full self, from who you really are, from this expansive energy as well. Right?
I was in Arabic, but yes.
That's how, at least from Canton perspective, I would describe it, which is also felt. And that's going back to the sovereignty as well. And that's sometimes like seeing yourself as a CEO of your life, that also helps people, first of all, to even catch that. Because to the point earlier that you mentioned, leaders are so much everywhere. And, they have a lot of responsibilities and they want to, achieve that as well and not disappoint anybody, of course.
Yeah.
But that means they compromise themselves quite a lot.
Sometimes, yes, they do that.
Quite a lot of leaders need first to actually sit back and, okay, now first me, not from selfish point of view, but if I'm not full battery.
Yes.
That means actually that I'm not standing in my power, number one, right? I don't respect myself, right?
Yeah.
I don't value myself enough and I don't create a space for myself and also for being in the right state that I need to be to manage and to think clearer, think faster and all of those things. And one thing I learned in my journey, and surely you reckon that too, is like if we cannot do that to ourselves, we will not be able to value other people.
You can't pour from an empty cup.
Yes. And it's not only about the well-being, but it's also like that beneath that's the patterns, that the biases that as coaches can support is a rewiring of this different patterns and beliefs from the past, right? Like, because when you don't value yourself, you will not be able to show that value and create that space for others. And that is the cycle of toxic cultures, low performance and all of this because they have so much
effect.
to get.
Beautifully articulated, Dagmar, 100%. Yeah.
So I'm just digesting a beautiful conversation, and I know we could talk probably for hours, but I know the time for our podcast episode comes to the end. Is there any last message that you would like to add on as a last word as well today?
First of all, thank you for your time and thank you for the opportunity. I've been on plenty of podcasts, and every time I am on a podcast, I discover something new in myself. And today, I think personally, I've explored something even deeper in me. And I think, again, building on the concepts of Ikigai, Wabi-sabi, and Kintsugi, I think that my next move is not only believe in the power of yourself, but rather act and do it now. Right? Because sometimes we delay things. We think, that let me wait a little bit, maybe something might happen, which is not bad, but you might miss the train, right? And somebody else might actually embark on that journey. But again, when you do it with your own style, right? And everyone is quite, niche in their own skin. And we're beautiful because of that diversity. So what I have for your audience is, aside from believe in the power of yourself as a leader and as a human, embrace your imperfection.
Yes, that's very much important.
Wabi-sabi.
And thank you for sharing what you've learned. And, for me, it was a beautiful conversation of two souls that are kind of connected somewhere there on a similar mission.
For sure.
That's why these conversations are always so nice. And thank you for sharing yourself in this podcast and your journey, who you are and what shaped you and what you're after. And of course, wishing you a lot of successes as well in this movement that you created.
Thank you so much, Dagmar, and wishing you also all the success. You obviously are also a change maker and a change agent in this world. So keep doing and keep driving that change. Thank you.
Thank you very much. And for all the listeners, there is so many key messages that I can leave you with, but I will not repeat them, but just be the change that you want to see. I think that's the one I will leave you with today. And thank you for listening to us. And see you next time.